Hi my loves, welcome back to the channel. It's your favorite girl Favor here. So guys, today we are going to be learning how to sew this beautiful dress with gathers on both sides. If this sounds like something you're interested in, please keep on watching, and if you're yet to subscribe, please do well to click on the subscribe button, because on this YouTube channel we learn how to turn void materials into a beautiful piece. And please do well to turn on your notification bell so that you'll be notified on our next tutorial. So without wasting much of your time, let's head to the tutorial proper. So guys, on our previous tutorial we learned the pattern drafting for the gown we are sewing today. So I'm going to be leaving the link on the description box below so that you understand how we got about the pieces that you're seeing here. Now I have gone ahead to use our pattern paper to cut on our main fabric, and on our previous tutorial, remember we cut the front and the back together. Now while cutting out the front one, I went ahead to fold that zipper allowance inside and then cut out on our fabric. So I've gone ahead now to separate the pins, and this is what I was trying to explain. When I was cutting out for the front one, I folded in the zipper allowance for me to get these front pieces. Now when I open it up, we can see that there is no joining at the center. So this is the front pieces. All right, now this is the back pieces. Okay, now when I was cutting out the back pieces, I went ahead now to open up the zipper allowance just like this to cut out on our fabric when cutting the back pieces. Okay, and at this point here, I went ahead to add extra 1 inch allowance. Remember on our drafting tutorial we did not add the allowance to this, and then at this point I did not add any allowance. Okay, now I've gone ahead to separate the pins, and when I open it up, this is the 2 pieces for the back. Now we have the 2 pieces because of the zipper that is going to be at the middle. Okay, so the next thing we are going to do is to go ahead and use our bias. Now for me that I don't have a bias, I always like to use the pieces of my fabric to create a bias. Remember on this channel we use what we have at our disposal to work with. We work on budget. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn this with our bias. All right, now we're going to sew the neckline, we're going to sew the armhole. We will do the same thing for the front pieces. Remember, you're sewing first at the front. When you sew in the front, then you now use it to turn it into the wrong side. So I'll take this to the sewing machine, turn it the way we'll turn with our bias, and then I'll bring it back. So my loves, I have gone ahead to pipe the neckline as well as the armhole area. So this is the front neckline, and when you turn it inside, this is what the wrong side looks like. This is the armhole area, and then this is the other armhole area. So I piped it, and this is for our back pieces. Now after piping the neckline and the armhole, I went ahead to join the zipper allowance. Let me turn this over. So I used 1 inch to close up for the zipper allowance. Okay, now this is the 1 inch I used to close it up. Remember on our previous tutorial we added zipper allowance of 1 inch, so I used the 1 inch to close it up to the full length of the back part. Okay, all right, I hope we understand. Now the next thing we are going to do is that we're going to pick up the front of our pieces and the back pieces, join the 2 shoulders like this. All right, do the same thing for the other side of the shoulder. Remember, right side facing each other. Please, you want to take note of that aspect. Now after joining the shoulder, the next thing we are going to do is impute our dart. Now when we're drafting, we added a dart, and if you notice that I did not cut the dart, this is because this is not going to be having a lining, so it's always safer for you not to cut it open. Just go ahead and sew your dart without cutting it open. Please take note of that. All right, so arrange it properly and then bring in our pattern paper and place it at the center. Now you also want to take note that I also added the allowance of 1 inch to the front pieces as well, not just the back pieces. That is why the pattern is a bit shorter than the main clothes. So we'll go ahead now and pin it, and then use our chalk to identify the point where we had our dart, just like this. And then to get the dart length, I will just come here where our dart stop and identify it. Now I'm going to keep our pattern paper. So remember, our dart was our nipple to nipple, which was 4 inch. I will use that 4 inch to just go ahead and get it to the full length of our dart, just like this. Please take note, do not cut or do not trim out this allowance, just go ahead and stitch. Then at the middle, I will come in by 1/2 inch, and then at this point I will come out by 1/2 inch, and then just connect it like this using my chalk, and then connect it to this point. Okay, do the same thing to the upper part, just exactly what we did for the lower part. Okay, so this is how we're going to pin our dart. You're going to just pick it up and then stitch it just like this. Please do not cut this open, and remember, you're sewing this on the wrong side of the fabric. So guys, I've gone ahead to join the shoulder and also catch our dart, and this is what the dart looks like. Now you can see that I did not cut this dart open. The essence of not cutting or trimming this dart, in case if your clothes rips in the public, you're on a safer side. And then this is what our shoulder looks like. Okay, now the next thing we are supposed to do is to go ahead and close our clothes using our basic bodies, or if you added 1 inch, go ahead and use the 1 inch to close it up. I used 1 inch to close up the gown on both sides, and then I attached our dart. So I'll turn this over to the right side. So by the time you sew it, this is what you're supposed to be having. And then your dart, please do also iron it down so that your dart can be balanced, just like what we have here. Now after that, this is what we have. So this is for the back, you can see. Then at this point, we're going to be opening up the center for the back so that we can easily attach our zipper to the back pattern. Okay, and after that, at this point, this is what you're supposed to be having if you follow the steps of this tutorial. So we're going to go ahead and keep the upper part aside. Now I have gone ahead to use these pieces of our slash and spread method to cut on our main fabric. Do not worry, I will explain the distance. Now when I place this number 1 here, I gave it a distance of 10 inches because I wanted it to be full. So that distance is what I used to apply to all the 5 pieces, and this is what we have. Now the next thing we are going to do is to go ahead and separate the pins. Now you can do as much as you want depending on the distance or how full you want your gathers to be. So this is for the 2 pieces cut together. All right, now the next thing we're going to do is to pick the 2 mouths like this, fold it together like this, just merge it together like this. The essence of this is to get the midpoint of our pieces. Now after getting the midpoint, the next thing we are going to do now is to go ahead and bring the upper part. Now this is our upper part that we already achieved. So we're going to open it up like this. Can you see the way I'm opening it? So we'll go ahead, open it up like this, get the side of our upper part, which is going to be serving as our middle, pick up one of our pieces for our gathers, just like this. Now the point where we give a notch is going to be serving as our guide. We're going to pick the front side facing each other. You can see that the upper part, this is the front, and then the gathers, this is the front. You can see this is the wrong side and this is the front side. Now the right side facing each other, we'll place it together using the notch that we gave at the middle of our gathers fabric. Please take note of that. When you place it like this, the next thing you will do is to go ahead and just pin it down, or you can sew it down to just secure the middle of it. So after pinning it down like this, the next thing we are going to do is to go ahead and arrange it properly like this, the right side facing each other. That is the upper part of our gown, and that's pieces for our gathers. We'll pick it like this. Now this is the upper part, and then this is the mouth of the gathers. You merge the two together, starting from the point that is the lower part of your gown, and then you pin it together like this. And while pinning it, make sure that the front side are together, that is the front side facing each other. So you pin it like this, starting from the lower part of your gown, and pin the two together just like this. You see the way I'm arranging it? Just pay attention to what I'm doing here and you're good to go. Now we're going to go ahead and pin it so we get to where that our curve started from. You can see the way I'm taking my time to arrange this down, okay, because this duchet fabric can be difficult to work with, so it's advisable we pin it down. Now we're going to pin it down till we get to where our curve started from, or better still, wherever point you want your gathers to start from is where you're going to stop. You'll pin it to that point, to your desired point, or when you get to the curve where that our curve started from. If you have not seen the drafting of this tutorial, the first part of this tutorial, please do well to see the tutorial and you're good to go. Now after pinning it, this is what we are supposed to have. All right, so you can see that at this point there's a lot of allowances at this point, so the excess that is remaining is what you're going to now go ahead and plait it. Make sure you plait it in a way it's going to enter very well, and when you finish doing that edge, you turn it again like this. You can see what I'm doing here. Pick this side, the right side facing each other, and then pin it down like this, and then sew it till you get to the point where you pinned. You can see it, and then you run a gather stitch on it, and then when you get to the point where the fabric is excess, you do your gathers. So I'll go ahead and do it and bring it back. So guys, I've done it and this is what it looks like. So you can see where my own gather started from. It started from the curve, and my gathers is really full. In fact, I love the outcome. And please do well to weave these clothes if you're selling. Even if you're sewing this for yourself, please do well to weave it down. You can see how the material is fraying. So I'll go ahead and turn it to the right side, and please do well to also iron it out. So this is what we have at the right side. You can see where my own gather started and where it stopped. So this is what we are expected to have at your own end. Okay, that is if you follow the illustration we did. And then at the full length of the gown, I went ahead to fold it in by 1/2 inch. And after folding it, this is what we have. Now, the next thing we are going to do is attaching our zipper. And in doing that, we are going to go ahead and open up the zipper allowance that we closed up with 1 inch. So it was a loose stitch that I did here. So when you're closing up a zipper allowance that you are going to still open up, please go ahead. It's always advisable for you to use a loose stitch to sew your zipper allowance. Now when I get to the point where I want it to stop, I will go ahead and run a double stitch to the point where I want my zipper to stop. Okay, now that is just the only thing left in this clothes. So you go ahead and attach your zipper and you're good to go. So guys, that's basically it for the second part of sewing of this gown. My gown really turned out to be very, very pretty, and that's basically it. So thank you so much for watching. If you watched this tutorial to this point, please do well to click on the subscribe button. Please help me to share this video so that it will get to someone who might find this very, very interesting. Please leave a comment. I would also love to see your own recreation. So thank you so much for watching. Please guys, do not forget to go green. I will see you on our next tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.